Hey there, it's Tammy with It's All About the Dogs.
Noelle with Positive Directions Canine Academy.
And we had a viewer that asked us a question, Noelle. We had a gentleman that asked, what's the best way to socialize your dog? And I know we've kind of touched on that in a couple of the other videos about how dogs play and how they interact differently, and also the dog park video, which, you know, may not be a great idea. So what's the best way to start socializing? Let's say you have a new puppy.
Well, let's say you got a new puppy or you've newly adopted a rescue or that kind of thing. So puppies under the age of 6 or 7 months old can go in play groups and they do really well together.
Okay.
So if you can find a puppy play place.
Or like you have Yappy Hour at
I
your
do.
place.
So we offer Yappy Hour on Friday afternoons from 5:30 to 6:30. It's just a drop-in where you just bring your puppy and we bring out the toy box and tunnels and we let the puppies just run and play with each other.
And they're age-appropriate puppies.
They're all about the same age.
Yeah.
And another thing that you need to consider is size. If you've got a really tiny puppy, then taking them to a puppy playtime may not be the best option because some of those puppies may be this big at the same age. So,
so a German Shepherd puppy might be 30 pounds and the Chihuahua might be
Exactly.
5.
Exactly.
Right.
And you're just asking for trouble if you
Right.
have extremes of one end or the other.
Right.
For size range. So puppies, playtime, that's one thing. Once they start to hit sexual maturity, which happens between 6 and 7 months of age, the play becomes more significant and they have more skin in the game.
If you've ever watched dogs play, you notice that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The play styles change incredibly. Puppies, when they play with each other, they will bite at hind legs. Sometimes they do what I call bitey face, where they kind of like lay down and go, ow, ow, ow,
She
ow.
likes to play that with her sister.
Yeah. So, but they don't really get upset. You know, if another puppy bites them hard, they yip and then they go away and then they come back out and they join the play.
Right.
Once they start to reach that adulthood,
Teenagers.
if a puppy comes up and bites them, they're going to take that more seriously. And their corrections are going to be more severe. And that's where you can end up with dog problems.
Yeah.
So once puppies hit around 6 or 7 months, then it's time to pursue socialization in other ways.
Okay.
So one way is, especially if this is your first time with this dog or you just newly adopted, is get in a class.
Yep.
I know that sounds weird. You know, you might be able to teach sit and down and stay and come and all of that stuff.
A lot of people think they can teach their dog a lot of things, and they try, and that some of them do really well at home. But
Right.
you have to be in, and you can learn something too.
Right.
You know, I mean, and this sounds crazy, but I've taken Noelle's manners classes so many times. I could probably teach manners inside and out because I've been to so many classes. But the reason I've been, every time I get a new dog, we go to manners class.
Yeah.
And sometimes we go more than once.
Yep. Yep. You know, there's nothing like having a good, solid foundation. So get in a class, one that's got the dogs under control, and that is, you know, it's not like this big mosh pit of dogs that come together and hopefully everybody gets along, or where you're sitting on top of each other. So you need to have your own space. But that's a great way to socialize your dog.
Find out what the class is about too, and how, if it's positive interactions, because that's really important.
Exactly. Another thing that you can do is just simply go and watch a class. I know that sounds really strange. Why would you want to go spend an hour watching everybody else's dogs work? But you did that for a while.
I did that for a while. I had a dog that I adopted. We weren't sure what kind of situation she was in. Tessa, several years ago, she was kind of weird with other dogs, weird with other people. And when I say weird, she was defensive. She'd growl, she'd lift her lip. You know, she was just kind of a hot mess. Yeah. And I needed to reel that in. She actually ended up being the best dog I ever had as far as intelligence goes. But we'd come and we'd sit right here at the front of the gate, watch the class. We did that for a couple of months before we actually engaged in a class. And by that time, she had learned that this was not that scary and that other dogs were not that scary. And she did a ton better. Yeah. So, and she did get to the point where she could interact and play with other dogs. Right. If that was the case, but it took a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So be prepared to take as much time as it takes. The next way that you can socialize your dogs is to join a club. I know that, again, sounds a little, why would I want to join a club? But those are people, especially if it's a dog club, that enjoy spending time with their dogs.
Yeah.
And they're often doing things outside of club meetings.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can even bring your dog to a club meeting.
Sure.
And everybody's going to be all over the top of it, petting it and loving on it.
And there's all kinds of different clubs out there. There's the AKC clubs. There's also like clubs that do agility together.
Right.
Clubs that do obedience.
Scent work
Or obedience.
Yep.
There's a bunch of different clubs, and probably in your area.
Yeah. Yep. One of the best resources is your Chamber of Commerce. Call them, and they'll be able to tell you what's out there, where it is, what they teach, all that good stuff.
Do a search on Facebook to find out what groups are in your neighborhood.
Exactly.
So there's all kinds of interaction, or start your own.
I was just going to say that, you know, if there isn't anything in your area, start one. You know, put something out on Facebook and say on Wednesday at 6 o'clock, meet me at this park. We're going to go for a walk.
Yeah.
So that leads me into the next way to socialize your dog. Go for walks. If you've got friends, have them bring their dogs, and everybody just kind of go for a walk.
Yep.
Another great thing is after the walk is done, maybe you all go to someplace like Sonic or Dairy Queen or any of those patio places. Order yourself something to drink, let your dog chill out a little bit, get them an ice cream cone. Yep.
There you go. Well, and you know, because we've talked about this in another video.
Right.
On Sunday afternoons, Zella and I meet with friends. We go for a walk. We do some obedience training, or we go to a store that's dog friendly, like Murdoch's or whatever. Here's the thing, though, that's very interesting, and we discussed this as well. Zella does not like to play with other dogs outside of her household. She loves to play with her brother and her sister.
Yes.
But when we go, even though she's not aggressive towards Rachel or other dogs, when we've turned them loose in a yard and enclosed area, she just kind of watches the other dogs play, and she goes around the outside, does her own thing. She's not interested in engaging, and that's okay too.
That is totally okay. If you've got a dog who's not interested in engaging, don't think that they were beat or hurt or whatever the case may be. They just may be a little on the antisocial side. Just like people, there's some of us that can talk to people at line in a grocery store and strike up a conversation. And then there's people who at line in the grocery store are like, leave me alone. This one. So
I'll talk to anybody.
Yeah.
But
so, you know, when we socialize, we go to friends' houses. We don't go to the neighbor 3 doors down, knock on their door and say, hi, I'm here to socialize.
That would be weird.
That would be weird. And it's weird for adult dogs to go to socialized play groups.
Right.
Because
so doggy daycares.
Yes. So socialized play groups. It may seem like it's a great idea. And I think a lot of people are choosing doggy daycare because, number one, their pet comes home absolutely exhausted.
True.
So, and it seems like it would be a lot of fun getting to run around and play with other dogs that are like-minded. But not every dog does well in those kind of social
I think
circles.
Zella would freak the heck out.
I think that would absolutely put her over the absolute edge,
like,
and she'd be done. Yeah.
That would be like sending an introvert into a giant party.
And you have to give a speech.
I'd be like,
yeah.
Freak
So
me out.
it's you know, it's great for some, but it's not for everybody.
Nope.
And so, you know, if you want to get out there and you want to socialize with your dog, take a class, join a club, start something in your community where you meet at different locations each week and practice obedience skills, practice just going for a walk, sit and talk with each other. Letting your dogs just be in that social circle will help them understand that all dogs are not going to be in their space.
Right. Well, and you know, ask yourself, what is your goal in socializing your dog? I mean, what are you thinking about? Why do you want to do that? Because it's really nice to have a very well-rounded, well-behaved dog that kind of just gets along with everyone but isn't over the top.
Right. So for me, a well-socialized dog is a dog you can take absolutely anywhere, who's able to understand and respond to commands, and is okay at being in the presence of another dog without acting a fool. If you can have that, then you've got a dog who's well socialized. The best way to get your dog socialized is to take them out and do stuff with them. Don't rely on a daycare. That's like taking your kids to school and telling them that, you know, this is where you're going to learn your morals. This is where you're going to learn your whatevers. And it's not up to the teacher to teach the dogs that kind of thing. It's up to you to do that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, and we were just talking, I have Titus, and he's always been the best because he would, what I would consider a well-rounded dog. He never, I could take him anywhere. I could absolutely feel 100% confident that I could take him anywhere, and he was going to be right here and not freak out.
Right.
And so if that's your goal, then there's a lot of other things that you need to do to work on, which starts with taking a class.
Taking a class, absolutely. That's where it all starts and it all begins. Make friends with somebody in class. Maybe you sit next to somebody and ask them, you know, our dogs seem to really like each other. Maybe you want to take them for a walk someday and go to the park. Yeah, that's just that simple. So in essence, it all boils down to this. Dogs are pack animals and they enjoy being with their pack. They don't necessarily have, this pack says, well, let's go play with this pack, because then you end up with dog fights. So the best, safest way to socialize is exposure, experience, and keeping them on a leash.
There you go.
All right.
Awesome. If you like this video, hit the like button, and please
subscribe.
Subscribe to our channels. There's 2 channels.
Yes, Positive Directions Canine Academy.
And it's all about the dogs.
Thank you.
We'll see you next